Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on changes we're making to CAT4 on paper. I'll give it a couple of minutes just to wait for any late joiners. Oh, it's just before 2 o'clock, so they're not late. And then we will begin. I've got a few things to go through regards housekeeping, and then I'll pass on to my colleagues Liam and Sophie, who will take you through the changes that we're making. So we'll just give it a couple of minutes and then we'll begin. Okay, I've got 2 o'clock one more. Just let you know, this session is being recorded, so we'll send out the recording to you afterwards. So if anyone's joining late, we'll send them the whole recording. So we always begin with our mission to accelerate learning for all children and adults of all ability levels and ethnic and social backgrounds worldwide. So as you know, this webinar is being hosted on Zoom. I'm sure everyone's getting used to Zoom now. If you have any problems with the audio, please check which audio output you're using. You can switch between computer audio and telephone using the audio settings option. As I mentioned, today's presentation is being recorded, so we'll send recordings on in due course. Anyone has any questions, please use the Q&A section. We'll be monitoring that throughout and we'll go through that at the end if anyone's got any questions. Feel free to use the chat function if you've got any comments to make or anything like that. The chat function should be open, so feel free to add to that. If you want to get in contact with us to see any of our future events, the website address for that is gl-assessment.co.uk/events, or for more info and any questions, email us at info@gl-assessment.co.uk. So without further ado, I will pass you on to my colleague Liam. Liam, over to you.
Thanks, Bill, and thank you to everybody who is attending today. I'm just going to pull up everything that we want to show you, and hopefully by the time I say that, it'll be on your screens. Okay, so thanks again for everyone attending. The reason we're here, as you all know, is to talk about the changes that are coming up for CAT4 paper. So I've got the screen shared, so I'm going to hand over to my colleague Sophie. Sophie's going to run you through our intro and the agenda, and then we'll get into the session.
Thank you, Liam. I'm Sophie. I'm co-presenting today with Liam, and wanted to just take you through what we're going to be covering today. So first of all, we'd really like you to introduce yourself in the chat, where you are and whether you're currently using CAT4 paper or you're thinking of using it. And as Phil mentioned before, please do put any questions you have in the Q&A, and we'll answer as many of those as we can at the end. We're going to start off with a bit of an introduction to the team behind the new CAT4 project. We're going to go through the rationale behind it, why we're doing what we're doing, what the changes are that are coming up that you're going to be seeing, what the new features are and what those benefits will be, and we'll run through some commonly asked questions that we've seen so far, and then take into any Q&A that we've got time for at the end. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. I'm just going
back to Liam, who's going to introduce the team.
Thank you. Yeah, so some of you may see some of the team in the call. We just wanted to let you know that our team who work on all of the work within GL, we have multiple teams and we're all built up of various subject matters. So myself, Liam, I'm the product manager on this team, and I'm responsible for looking at, alongside Sophie, of course, looking at the customer needs and the market needs, and then we investigate all of the data and information that we have, which then leads us to various decisions that allow us to then say, yep, this is the next piece of work that we're going to be working on. And then in the team, we have Anne-Catherine, internally referred to Anne as Anki. She's our UX designer, so she's responsible for everything user experience. And then we have Matthew, who's our tech lead. So Matthew is responsible for everything technical from a very high level and then all the way down. And then we are then made up of senior developers and QA analysts. So we've got Jonathan, Michael, and Nathan, who are our senior developers, and then Dave is who our senior QA, who's responsible for the quality of our product. So the team is multidisciplined. We have a lot of expertise and experience in that team. So we just wanted to let you know that we have a lot of experience and expertise in the team that helps us get from A to B and give you the features and the products that you all enjoy using. So I'm going to go on to the next point. And so just a bit of rationale. We want to explain to you why we're making these changes. And there's multiple reasons. And what we want to do by bringing CAT4 paper in-house within TestWise, what that's allowing us to do, it allows us ultimately to own the product entirely from beginning to end. And then that allows us to meet our single platform strategy. So TestWise is our single platform. And then we can enhance that product using all of the benefits and strengths of TestWise. By having one platform, it gives you a consistent and familiar user experience. So you know where to go, you know all the features, there's no confusion. All of your data is in one place. So all your reporting and student data is there. It's our flagship platform. So you reap the benefits of all future development, the better performance, and all improvements we make all around TestWise. So even though we're talking CAT4 paper, you will reap the benefits of the reporting improvements, onboarding improvements, and so on. This then also allows us the opportunity to be very flexible and offer that flexibility to our customers. So what you will see in future models with CAT4 papers, we'll have an opportunity where you can administer this yourself entirely, from creating a sit-in, creating the assessment, printing the answer sheet, scanning the answer sheet. So it allows us to be flexible and not be bound by other platforms. And then finally, like I've touched on, it's our continuous improvement. We can continually improve this process and this platform based on your feedback, your experiences, and the data that we get from all usage. So just to summarize, by bringing it into TestWise, because we control that whole experience now, ultimately you will reap the benefits of all new features moving forward. So I'm going to hand back to Sophie, who's just going to talk about the current CAT4 process and what we'll be phasing out.
Thank you, Liam. It's a really important part of our product design process is that we listen to our customers and find out what customers think of the process, and we know that it's a real pain point for customers to be uploading multiple data files into the TRS system. So that is actually going to be going away, and Liam's going to explain in a minute how you'll use the student data bank in TestWise instead. that also means that all assessment data that is linked to the right child, they're not appearing multiple times in different lists of students. We know that manual completion of blank answer sheets causes delays. It can cause queries coming back to you from our scanning reporting teams. And also that actually currently you have to wait for the whole cohort to be scanned in to be able to start accessing your reports. So we want to make sure that that experience improves. So the new features that you'll see in the new CAT4 paper when it's released is that you'll be using the student bank in TestWise. You'll use the sittings functionality. You'll be able to print your own answer sheets if you need a copy. You'll be able to see the progress of your sitting within the sitting administration team screen, and as soon as a student's answer sheet has been scanned in, you'll then be able to run reports with that student. So I know when I used to run CAT4 in school, there were always a few students that I was keen to get individual reports to certain colleagues about those students as soon as they're available. I didn't need to wait for the whole cohort to complete. You'll have access to the full suite of reports, so there'll be no longer going into TRS and looking at just a couple of reports that have been generated for you. You'll have access to our full reporting functionality with your own filters and all of the group and individual reports available as well. Okay. Back to you, Liam. Liam's going to take you through what some of the features will look like. Over to you.
Thanks, Sophie. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to touch on is the answer sheet itself. So I've just put a little snippet of the answer sheet. As you all know, it's a 2-page answer sheet. That is an OMR where you put the line through the correct answer. So what we've done here, first of all, is the student details are now pre-populated. You'll see a QR code in the top left and then all of the student information in text. The QR code is what contains all of the information for the student, the assessment in the school. That is what the scan will use and then say this student is in this school and this is where the data needs to go. The pupil's name, school name, and so forth is there for the administration purposes of the teacher, the exam administration, the students, so you know where to hand out those answer sheets. So like I said, it includes all that information, and the main reason for this is around the data quality. As Sophie alluded to, the handwritten answer sheets can cause multiple problems. They may not get assigned to the correct student. They may not get assigned to a student at all. Then there's a lot of manual effort on both your part and our part to match that data. So now with this new process, we can guarantee that this answer sheet is assigned to the correct student with minimal effort and fuss. It helps speed up the scanning process because of that as well. And then, like I said, it contains all of that information. What you'll also see at the top of the answer sheet is the assessment level. So you'll see the answer sheet C, and it's also color-coded just as a quick visual that you know that this is the correct level that you've created. We've improved the font size and spacing of the answer sheet as well, so it's a lot easier for the students to use. And also the answer sheets are generated within the sit-in. So even though you will get to send them in the post as normal, you do have access to a PDF copy of the answer sheet. So if you ever come across the situation of a damaged answer sheet, whether it be damage in the post or a student spills a bottle of water over it or whatever may happen, you have the ability to go into the sit-in, open the answer sheet and print your own copy, so you don't have to then wait a number of days for a replacement to be sent in the post. On top of that, there is some requirements regarding the print quality and the paper quality, but this will be, you'll have that information at a later date. But it's just worth noting here that you know there is some requirements that we need you to adhere to. So that's the answer sheet. In overview, we've improved the layout and the clarity of the answer sheet, but also all of the information is stored in that QR code, so that we can be a lot more efficient with our scanning and data. Okay, now I'm going to show you the sittings page. So for those here in the call with us today who are familiar with TestWise and the digital sitting process, you'll be glad to know that we're utilizing the same process for paper assessments. So in this case, CAT4. The reason we've done this is so it's familiar to you. You don't have to think, oh, I've got a new process or a different process to remember. You can use that process that you're familiar with. And it uses the student bank like Sophie's previously alluded to. So as you'll know now, you have to create a manual spreadsheet, which is called a data file, put all your students in there, and you may have 4 data files that contain the same student, but they're duplicated 4 times for 4 different assessments. That is no longer the case. What you will do is you create the sit-in for that relevant assessment, and then you will assign the student. And then that means all assessment data for that student is tied to the student exactly like digital is. So it's a lot tidier and a lot familiar. And then as you'll see, it's very similar. So you go down the process, you select your assessment, you select your level and the dates, and then you add your students. But what you may see and may recognize is that there's 2 additional fields at the bottom. The first field is how your answer sheets are grouped. So we give you the chance and the opportunity to select how you want your answer sheets to be grouped. So when you receive them in the post, they're in the order that you wish. So currently we allow you to order via surname, forename, UPN, or group. So however you want to organize your sit-in and how you want to receive your answer sheets, that is entirely up to you. All schools have different workflows, so we're allowing you to have that little level of customization. The second field that you'll see is the email address, who receives the email from ourselves to say that your data is ready. So we're staying with the same and familiar process of sending you an email to say your data is now available. But what we're doing is we're allowing you to decide who receives that email. In TRS currently, it is the email that's assigned within the school. So every paper assessment will receive, that same user will receive that information. But we know that schools have different workflows. A school may have a data manager who wants to receive all the reports, who then create personalized reports for their schools. Or it may be a head of year, it may be who's creating the sit-in. So we're allowing you that option. What it does is it will populate all the addresses, email addresses that are within the school. You just go down the list and select. So in this case, you'll see that I want Sophie to receive this email. So once the data is being received, scanned and available in TestWise, then Sophie will receive that email saying your data is now available. And we think that that will be a very, very useful feature for our customers. And then also, once you finish the sit-in, creating the sit-in, and you click save, because we are moving to a credits-based system to align with digital, you will have a message displayed advising you that once you proceed past this point, this is when your credits will be consumed. However, if you're at a point where you don't want your credits to be consumed and you think that the sit-in is still a draft, you have the ability to save it as a draft. You don't have any credits being used, and you can come back to it at a later date, finalize the sit-in, and that's when your credits will be consumed. Okay, moving on to the actual sit-ins page that you will see. So now at this point now I've created my sit-in, I've received my answer sheets. In this sit-ins page now I can view all the sit-ins that are assigned to my school, and what we're trying to do now is give you more information. Like I said earlier on, we control the process now, we control the end-to-end, so we have all the relevant data. So what you'll see here is this is the sit-ins in my school, and there's 2. There's a completed sit-in which was from the 19th of August and has 1 student. So what I'm telling you at this point now is, at a glance, that sit-in now is complete and my data is available. Underneath, you'll see that there's another sit-in from a few days ago that is currently live. So what that allows you to understand is that that sit-in that is live is still in progress. So there may be a case where the answer sheets haven't been received, they haven't been scanned, or they've been partially scanned. So we understood one of the pain points with the old system was people would have to call up our support teams and ask, what's the progress of my sit-in? And now we're giving you that view within the sit-ins. So we're going to save you from having to call our contact centers and ask that question. You can now go in and see. If you then go into the view progress link into the actual sit-in itself, you will then get more detail. So if you've got 30 students in the sit-in, for example, and only 15 have been scanned, you will see that which ones have been scanned and they'll be marked as complete, and then who hasn't been scanned. So again, you've got that level of detail to understand where you are in the process. And then also, as you can see on the screenshot next to view progress, there's 3 dots. If you click that, you have the ability to edit the sit-in and also download the PDF, which contains the answer sheets if you have a damaged answer sheet and you need to reissue an answer sheet to a student. Next up is just to touch base quickly on reporting. This new process incorporates all of the reporting tools within TestWise. So you can create whatever report you need. If you need an Excel data dump for all of your year, you can create that. If you want a more specialist report, if you want to drill down by a certain class, certain group, certain age, you have that ability. Those tools are at your disposal. With CAT4, you have the ability to report on digital only, paper only, or both. So we present you with that option when you're creating the report, and it's just going to give you the extra flexibility when creating the reports. You can get the data that you need and that you want to utilize. And also you'll have the full suite of reports. So if it's a group report, individual, exec summary reports for teachers, parents, students, and so forth, they're all available for you just as digital, but we're incorporating paper into that. And then there's a screenshot here of a group report for teachers. So we just want to highlight that for paper, you get the same report and it works exactly the same as it does with digital. So just as an example, you can see the PDF print button in the top right corner, all functionality remains. So that's just a quick tour of all the new features that we're bringing in with CAT4 paper into TestWise. If you've got any questions, please pop them into the Q&A section and we can get back to those. But I'm going to hand back to Sophie now, who's just going to run through some of the commonly asked questions that we've encountered during our process of the development of this new feature.
Thanks, Liam. And I just want to emphasize there that with the new CAT4 paper, customers will have access to the full suite of reports. So the individual reports, the group reports, the executive summaries, reports for teachers, parents, and students. So before you had to actually specify which reports you wanted to purchase, now you'll just log in to the reporting and insight section of TestWise and be able to see and filter on the students you want to filter on and have that flexibility to run whatever reports you want and to be able to view those on screen or download them as PDF or as Excel as appropriate. Just had a question come in from Robert actually about the population of the student bank. So I wanted to touch on that before I go into these questions. So the student bank in TestWise is something that you can either take an export from your school MIS and populate that student bank and then draw from that student bank into your sittings, or which we recommend that you actually connect through Wand and synchronize your student bank with your MIS so that that student list, the student bank in TestWise, is continuously kept up to date, so that when you go in to add students to your sitting, it reflects the current student list that you have in your school. Okay, so when will this new service be available? We're actually working on this now, and we're going to be doing some trialing with some customers in the autumn term just coming up, and we expect this to be available to all customers in the spring term of 2026. Obviously, some of you will have the current answer sheets already purchased, and you have until the end of March next year to get those administered and return those to AQA to be scanned. After the end of March, after the 1st of April, you won't be able to send those off to AQA anymore. If that poses a problem for anybody, please do get in touch and we'll talk to you about different options. Okay. If you've got a student who has been absent and then you subsequently administer CAT4 with them, if you don't want to send that student's answer sheet off because the whole cohort's already gone, apart from them, you will actually be able to have the ability to scan your own answer sheet within an extra add-on piece of software and TestWise. The digital testing credits are valid for 12 months, which is the same, it's consistent with our digital assessments. So you'll purchase, say you're going to test 250 students, you purchase 250 or perhaps a few spare credits, you need to use those up within 12 months. If an answer sheet is damaged, I know Liam referred to this earlier, sometimes there's a disaster with a cup of coffee. If an answer sheet is damaged, you will be able to go into the sitting and print off a duplicate answer sheet, but please understand that that answer sheet is pertinent to that student. The QR code, which is scanned at the scanning end, contains details to indicate what student it is and what sitting they're in, so that the scanned results can be attributed back to that student. So don't print one off to use for a different student, but yes, you will have the ability to do that. If you have a new student joining the school, if you've got spare credits in your bank, you will be able to actually use those credits, create a new sitting, and get answer sheet printed for that student. If you've not got any spare credits, you just need to drop us a phone call and order some extra credits for your new students, and then you'll be able to put those through. I'm just going to jump back into the Q&A and see what else has come up. I don't know if, Phil, if you've been reviewing them. I'm going to take the one from Louise about the test date. So the test date doesn't, so the date of test doesn't actually go onto the answer sheet. You specify this in the sitting at the time where you create the sitting, and you've got the opportunity to update that after the students have taken the test. So for example, you've got a student who's absent, who doesn't take the test on the same day as everybody else. Maybe they come in a couple of days later. You'll be able to alter the test date for that student and send your sheets off, and that test date will be the correct one. Yeah, Katrina, thank you for your question. So populating the student data, you literally need a spreadsheet of your student details. So you should be able to export something from your school database and just take that down to the columns that you need and import that. We can send you, Katrina, the links to our, we've got some really snapshot training videos on our support website that explain how to do that. So if we send you that afterwards. Okay. If you wouldn't mind just dropping a message to the panelists, please, Katrina, and then also Robert, who was asking about populating the student bank. If you could drop in your details into a message to the panelists, we can make sure that goes out to you. Thank you. Any changes to the way that the CAT4 paper tests are administered? In terms of the students actually sitting the test, it will be a very similar experience. They'll still have their pupil booklet, they'll have their answer sheet to record their answers, but as Liam mentioned, the answer sheet has been renewed. We've got better use of the space, we've got a larger font size so that it's easier to read, but they will still sit on paper. If you want to use our digital assessment, it is available. You can talk to us about that. But if you, as many of our customers do, need to use the paper version, it is still the same paper assessment. There's no change to the assessment, and the students will still pop their answers down onto the answer sheet. Okay.
Sophie, just to say, there was a question from Jason in the chat.
Okay.
About using CAT4 for admission banding tests and running the test across multiple rooms on a first come first serve basis. Also have late applicants to fit in up to the day before the test. Will blank test sheets still be available to fill in on the day?
Yeah, thank you, Jason. When you say that you're filling your rooms first come first served, I assume that means you don't know which students are going to be in which rooms, in which case perhaps you could offer the opportunity for them to pick up or be given their answer sheet on arrival into the facility and then take that with them to the correct room. Clearly, they're not going to have access to the questions until they sit down at the desk in the room that's got the pupil question booklet. So perhaps that could be distributed in that way. There will be a few blank test sheets. We do understand that in your situation and some other use cases, you do have students unexpectedly turn up on the day, but these really are to be used only in urgent cases. If you have time and you know that the student is coming, even though you've already previously set up your sitting or ordered your answer sheet, we do ask, if at all possible, that you enter the student into TestWise, you create a sitting, and you'll be able to generate a PDF to print out the answer sheet, just because we know that the whole scoring process runs a lot more smoothly and accurately, which clearly is a benefit for you as well if we've got the actual pre-populated answer sheet. But if you do need to suddenly seat a child with an answer sheet, there will be a few blanks, yes. Any more? Yeah. When you print off the answer sheets, Jason, you are able to specify what order you want to put them in. So I think if it was me, I would possibly have them in surname order and have a registration desk of very small piles grouped in order of surnames, that it's easy to pick one up. But I'm very well aware that in that scenario, you are going to have a few students that you don't manage to match to their answer sheet, in which case you'll want to give them a blank. It is possible to transcribe afterwards or to send back the blank, but they must be the new blanks, not the old blanks. But we will be including some blanks in your order. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
One more in the Q&A, yes.
Okay.
How quickly can you turn around the generation of a PDF of a student's answer sheet?
It's really quick, Kylie. Thank you very much for the question. So if you already have your student in your student bank, then you're able to draw them into a sitting really quickly. You might need to enter details. You could actually quickly enter one student's details with just the compulsory field, so the name, the date of birth, and an ID number, which if you don't have their UPN or their database ID, just put a placeholder in and update it later. You'll be able to update all of their other details later. So you'll be able to just put in their name and date of birth, add them to a sitting, and then a couple of clicks to generate the answer sheets and print that off, and you'd be there. So if you were aware, perhaps the morning of, once they've arrived, that will depend on your setup as to whether you've got time to print that. Okay. But it is quick. The moment you've created the sitting, those answer sheets are generated. Okay, any further questions? Thank you for your note, Jason. Yes, we will be in touch. Okay. I'll hand back to Liam, who's going to talk a bit about our continuous improvement process. Oh, I'm going to go back. I'm going to catch Robert's question there. Right, so when you've got your answer sheets which have been completed by the students, you would send those back to us, but you'd be sending them to GL in our Swindon office, not sending them off to AQA. We're actually going to be doing the scanning in-house, which means that we have much more control over that process. It's a lot easier to update you on that process, and also we are hoping for a shorter service period to get those scanned. We do hope to also be able to offer a self-scan option where you could actually, using a scanner you've got in school, actually scan those PDFs and get them back that way. Okay. Do appreciate that for some of our customers who are really familiar with TestWise and running digital assessments, this is probably quite an easy change to envisage, but for some of our customers who have been using CAT4 paper for years and have never used TestWise before, we are aware that this is going to be a bit of a change. So please rest assured that we will have our onboarding team available to help you get started. We will have new training available to make sure that you know exactly what you need to be doing. And of course, our superb customer support team will be on hand at the end of the phone should you need a quick call. Okay. If you've got any further questions as we get through the next part of the webinar, please do drop them into the Q&A and we'll come back to them at the end. I'm going to hand back to Liam now, who's going to talk about some of the upcoming items and our continuous improvement process.
Thanks, Sophie. Just before I do touch on what's next for paper, I've just been keeping an eye on the chat while Sophie's been answering all of your great questions. The last one from Robert, I just thought I'd stress this point. We're talking a lot about PDF answer sheets. And what we're doing with the PDF is that's just when we talk about that, we're creating them in a PDF format, so you have the access to them as well. We have a whole internal process for the users who will be on the service where we send you the answer sheets in the post and you send them back. So if you're on that process, you will still receive the answer sheets in the post as you're used to. Yes, the process is slightly different now that it's more, instead of having a cupboard full of answer sheets previously that were blank, we'll be sending pre-populated answer sheets to you as you create the sit-ins in TestWise. So you will receive them as normal. You will also send them in the post as normal. There's just slightly different internal processes for us as we now control that process. So apologies if we've confused you by talking about PDFs quite heavily, but just to reiterate the process, if you go on to the model where we send you the answer sheets and you send them back to us, you will receive them as normal. Just thought I'd reiterate that point, given hopefully I don't want to confuse anyone. So hopefully that's answered that question. But thanks, Robert, for the question and the comments. Quickly, I'll talk about what's next for paper. So as you know, CAT4 paper into TestWise is the next thing, but we've got a lot going on in the world of paper assessments at the moment. So we are actively working on multiple areas here. But what you'll see next after CAT4 is all of your paper assessment data will be moved into TestWise. So that'll be your historical data for CAT4, PT, and NGRT, and then your current data for CAT4, PT, and NGRT. Even if you're not an NGRT customer, for example, you use PT and CAT4 or a combination of the three, what I'm trying to say is all of your paper data for those three assessments, if applicable, will be in TestWise, and you will use all of the reporting tools that we have available. That'll be coming in the autumn term. There's nothing for you to do. If you've used paper in the last 2 years, you'll see your data come over. One thing to highlight, due to the data that we receive from a third-party platform, you may see some duplicate students in your student bank, but we do have the ability for you to combine 2 student records into one. So all of the data sits under one. There's guides online, but the correspondence you'll receive from ourselves highlights all of this information and links off to the guides. So you'll have all the information at hand. The next 2 that we're working on, these are more technical features, so you probably won't notice these, but these are technical background improvements that make this process much more efficient, more robust. So we will be getting the data feed for NGRT and PT direct from AQA themselves, directly into TestWise. So that means that we can cut out the middleman, which is currently TRS. So the data comes in, and then we score directly on the platform now. So what that means is the scoring for these assessments benefits from the improvements that we've made in the background now technical solutions. So all combined, you will find that it'll be a much more pleasurable and quicker process. Later on, and work that is actively ongoing now, we'll be bringing NGRT and PT assessment and administration into TestWise. So a lot of that, what we've seen today, utilizing sit-ins and using the TestWise platform, this will be applicable for NGRT and PT also. So if you're a school and a customer who uses a combination of the 3 paper assessments we've just been talking about, you will now be completely in TestWise and no longer over on TRS. So what that means for NGRT and PT and CAT4 is that all sit-ins will be created within TestWise using your student bank. So then you can use the power of the student bank and keeping all of your students' data together and under one account. Anyone who's familiar with the online marking tools, they'll be coming into TestWise as well with a brand new UI and user experience, which makes it a lot better and a lot easier to use for both internal and external users. And like I said, the power of reports. You'll have all your paper data and reports. And there is another team within GL who focus on reports and data. So all of the brand new features that they'll be bringing, you will also benefit from those features, like I've said throughout this call. So that's just a little taster of what's coming. Again, if anyone is interested in a little bit more detail, we can provide that when the time is right. And up next, we just want to highlight we work in a continuous improvement world, and what you will have seen from us over the last couple of years, especially, but even longer, is we are constantly iterating and improving our products. We take the usage and the data and the feedback and everything that we can get hold of to learn what it is that our customers want, and we use that to continuously improve. And that is very important for the work that we're doing here, that we're talking about. So we will be monitoring the usage and the feedback from everybody who uses this to see, are we right? Are we wrong? What's next? Can we improve? Or is there a feature that we haven't implemented that we want to implement in the future? This is a big ask from myself, from the product management team. Once you see this, once you use it, including the entire TestWise platform, please let us know what your thoughts are, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, or if there's something that you don't have that you would love, please let us know. And we have our product management email address in this slide, so please use it, reach out to us, and we collate that. Not to get too into what we do, we have various platforms internally where we gather all of our feedback, and it helps us see what the problems are, see what the requests are, and so forth. And then once these new features go live, we will be still here developing them and iterating and improving as we go along. So what you won't see is you won't see it go live when it's ready to go live, and then we'll walk away and go and do something new. We will improve this process as you use it. and hopefully give you a feature and a product that you really enjoy using. That's everything from me. So I'm going to hand it back to Sophie if there's any more questions in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, Liam. And I just wanted to mention that if you just flip back to that last slide, please, Liam, that email address is for ideas and suggestions and feedback on the features that you see and the features that you use. If you've got any questions that you want answered, or you've got any problems or queries, then obviously please contact your education specialist or your account manager or customer services in the normal way, because we wouldn't perhaps expect product to be getting back to you in the same quick turnaround time that we would with our normal support methods. So this is for feedback and ideas, which we'd love to get from you. Please send those in. Okay, moving on. Have we got any more? I think we've got one more Q&A come in. A date for this to happen. Yes, thank you. So we're going to take this out to trialing with some customers this term. If you'd like to get involved with our beta testing trial, please scan the QR code to sign up. That's really good to hear that some of you are already signed up for this. Louise, I think we'll be in touch then if you're already on our trialing list. We'll talk about some specifics. We expect to roll this out to all customers at some point in the spring term, and obviously move completely across to selling just the new solution. And you've got that opportunity. You've got 2 terms to use up any old answer sheets, old blank answer sheets you've got, and come the summer term, or so after Easter 2026, only the new CAT4 will be available, but we've given time to phase it in. Okay, any further questions? Great, Alison, I presume that you've been in touch with Victoria, our trialing coordinator, and we will be in touch. Great, thank you. Oh, you've been in touch with James, thank you. Just making a note of your name, Alison. We'll follow up on that. Okay.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Liam. And thank you to everyone for attending. And thank you especially to everyone who asked a question. Anyone who has requested, we'll get back to them. We'll get back to. We'll send you the recording of this session in the next few days. If there's other people in your school who would like to attend this webinar, we're going to rerun it later in the term, the other side of half term, I think. And so keep an eye on our website on the events section, and we'll also be sending invites out. So once again, thank you for attending, and thank you for presenting, Liam and Sophie. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.